What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. What's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on here all across the United States and in the world. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos coming out here. There's a lot going on here in our country. Inflation going crazy. And the House of Representatives and the Senate, a lot of voting going on here this week. And they just voted right now here in the House of Representatives on one major bill that will now go to the Senate here. And I'll show you here right now here in a second. And surprisingly, we've had a lot of votes here recently that have been one-sided. This is just kind of the current atmosphere in the political system right now, where it just seems to be, especially here before the election, it's just kind of the way things are right now, where Republicans don't want to vote with Democrats before the election because Democrats have control of the political system. Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And we have seen a lot of votes here recently where Democrats have all been voting yes on a lot of things, and Republicans have been voting no on a lot of things. And I'm not talking on anything specific. I'm just talking in general. We've seen a lot of votes like that, dozens and dozens and dozens of votes like that, where all the Republicans have voted no, all the Democrats have been voting yes. This vote was a little different. We've seen a lot of Republicans break from their caucus and actually come across the aisle and vote yes and pass this bill. Yeah, as you can see here, the House passes a bill today protecting marriage equality for gay marriage, same-sex marriage, and LGBTQ, with 47 Republican members voting yes and all the Democrats voting yes. Here's the vote. Check this out.
Yeas are 267, and the nays are 157. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Yeah, so as you can see here, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill to protect marriage equality, a direct response to an opinion from Supreme Court Justice, who's considered the most far-right Republican justice, Clarence Thomas, last month, that called for reversing multiple decisions that enshrined LGBTQ rights. He also says that we should ban birth control as well. Another very controversial decision. I personally think that one is crazy. You can let me know your thoughts here on that one. The legislation titled for Respect for Marriage Act passed in a 267 to 157 vote, with 47 Republicans breaking with their caucus, crossing the aisle, and joining the Democrats in supporting the measure. 7 Republicans also did not vote. Normally when that happens, it's because they probably wanted to vote yes, but they didn't want to break with the caucus, so they just decided to not vote. It's generally when you see that happen, or they weren't present. The measure, which faces a shaky future in the Senate, though, where they're going to need 10 votes from Republicans out of the 50, calls for a repeal of the Defense of Marriage Act, known as DOMA, a bill former President Clinton signed into law in 1996. So that has been law for, let's see here, 22 plus 4, 26 years, that has recognizes marriage as, quote, only a legal union between one man and one woman as husband and wife. The measure referred to the word spouse as a person of opposite sex who is a husband or a wife. DOMA passed through both chambers of Congress with bipartisan support. If passed by the Senate and signed into the law, The Respect for Marriage Act would also require that individuals be considered married if they were wed in a state where marriage was legal. It's interesting. The provision, according to the House Judiciary Committee, ensures that same-sex and interracial couples are treated equally to other married individuals at the federal level. Yeah. So, additionally, the bill gives the Attorney General authority to launch civil action against any individual who violates it and allows any individual to take civil action if their rights as laid out in the bill are breached. And this comes less than 1 month after the Supreme Court issued and ruled and overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 case almost 50 years ago that protected access to abortion as a constitutional right. It was actually the 2015 ruling that made same-sex marriage a constitutional right. So that happened in 2015. Now, this is passed in the House. We had 47 Republicans vote yes on this, okay? They basically broke with their party and said, we want to vote yes on this. We think that these rights should not be taken away from millions of Americans, okay? So, it's passed in the House. Now it needs to go to the Senate, though. The question here is, will, out of 50 Republicans in the Senate, will we see that happen in the Senate? Because if it doesn't happen in the Senate, that's a very different situation here. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here, because if it doesn't happen in the Senate, then the Supreme Court could overturn it, and then we have a completely different ballgame here. Completely different ballgame. Because remember, the Supreme Court has that that Republican majority there. Clarence Thomas is a very, what a lot of people consider a far-right justice who wants to overturn a lot of things. He basically said he wants to overturn this. He wants to ban contraceptive, birth control. This is his own kind of, well, he said he wants to look into basically reversing them. I mean, there's no other kind of way to say this. I mean, they're legal now. He wants to look into them. What else would that mean? You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But the other thing that the House is looking to vote on here this week, another very big issue. Check this out.
So tomorrow, the House Judiciary Committee will consider the first assault weapons ban put before Congress in decades. And this bill would ban the sale, the transfer, the import, and manufacture several models of semi-automatic weapons. And it has a real chance of actually making its way to the House floor. Joining us now is the congressman who co-sponsored that bill, Congressman David Cicilline, a Democrat from Rhode Island, who actually sits on the Judiciary Committee. He also chairs the Congressional LGBTQ plus Equality Caucus. Congressman Cicilline, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're taking a step towards getting an assault weapons ban passed in the House tomorrow for the first time in decades, and that should be commended. And Democrats in the House have been very busy passing other legislation to protect the rights to things like marriage and abortion. My question to you tonight, sir, is what do you say to people who might claim that the legislative work that the Democrats are doing in the House is symbolically important, but is not enough considering the inability to actually pass the legislation in the Senate?
Well, thank you for having me on tonight. Look, the House is going to continue to do its work, and we have been very focused on a whole range of issues, driving down the costs for working families, addressing climate issues, addressing the scourge of gun violence, making sure people have rights to marry and to contraception. So we have a lot of legislation which is pending in the Senate, and we're always challenged by the rules of the Senate that require 10 Republicans to join us in this work. But the House Democrats will continue to do what we do, and that is deliver for the American people, bring the priorities of the American people before the Congress vote and pass excellent bills and get them to the Senate. We're responsible for our work. They're responsible for theirs. And if the standard where we're only going to pass things we know the Senate will pass, many of us would feel like we could go home because we have so many great pieces of legislation that are languishing in the Senate. But we're going to continue to respond to the urgent priorities of the American people, get our work done, pass good appropriations bills, good infrastructure bills, good gun safety bills, and we'll expect the Senate to do their work as well.
Yeah, no, and that's fair enough. I think that's a very valid point, the division of labor between the House and the Senate. But even if the Senate does not have the votes to pass the bills that the House is passing, is it important? Do you think it is important to proceed and put the votes on the record?
Oh, absolutely. Look, these votes matter because we are fighting to protect our constituents from gun violence. We are fighting to protect our constituents' ability to marry the people they love, to have access to full reproductive health care, including abortion services, to have access to contraceptives. So these are really important issues. And we're going to continue to focus on the important priorities of the American people, to help rebuild the economy, to recover from the devastation of the pandemic, to defeat ultimately the pandemic so people can resume their normal lives. We're doing a lot of things simultaneously. All of them are important. And I think in some of these situations, it's important for the American people to see who's fighting to protect their freedoms, who's fighting to take away those freedoms, who's fighting to preserve reproductive health care, who's against it. So that in November, people will have a clear choice and they'll know where people stand. We hope the Senate will take up all these bills and pass them. It will make a real difference in the lives of the American people. We don't have control over that. So we're going to keep doing the important work on the House, sending it to the Senate, and give the American people an understanding of that we're fighting for them.
Let me ask you, if I can, for a moment about the actual assault weapons ban. There has been, some question about whether Democrats actually have enough votes in the full House to pass the assault weapons ban. What is your understanding this evening? Do Democrats, in fact, have the votes in the full House?
Well, look, we're going to mark up the bill tomorrow. The first time in almost 30 years, we've taken up the assault weapons ban. These are weapons of war designed to kill as many people as quickly as possible, to be used in military combat. They don't belong in the neighborhoods of our cities. The last 4 mass shootings included the legal purchase of an assault rifle. So we know when we had the assault weapons ban in effect, there was a 25% decline in gun massacres and a 40% decline in fatalities. So we know the assault weapon ban works.
Yeah, so you heard it from the congressman there with the statistics. We used to have these banned. He says they're a weapon of war that is used to kill as many people as fast as possible. They used to be banned, and they're a weapon of war. So, in fact, the one of the creators of one of the assault rifles, their family says they were not meant to be in the hands of civilians. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments, but he even said there the last 4 high-profile shootings that made national news were with assault rifles, and they were bought legally. They were bought legally. Yeah, so I mean, the reality of it is that it would cut down on some shootings. Some shootings. It's a fact. The question is how many? We don't know. It would be hard to tell at all. You know, we just don't know. It's like looking into the future and saying, well, you'll never really know how many shootings wouldn't have happened. Yeah, you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But meanwhile, also this week, they're really fighting with this slimmed down package because of Senator Joe Manchin and President Biden. Yeah, President Biden considering taking executive action on what he can. They're looking into that. I'll have some more information here with you guys in the next video or so here for you guys. But Senator Joe Manchin really just blocking or stalling what he can. And Democrats just getting sick of it. Republicans probably just sitting there on the sidelines going, yeah, because Republicans have said multiple times that, they're just waiting for the election. They're, because they just vote no on these major packages. I mean, the last vote in the House on the Build Back Better package, all the Republicans voted no. They're going to vote no on this next package if the Democrats, can push it through or get to a vote here. All the Republicans are going to vote no on that anyways. So it's almost like Joe Manchin's on their team. Yeah, you know, let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But yeah, I don't know. You know, Joe Manchin does actually get money. He gets donors from a lot of Republican billionaires, and very wealthy donors from Republicans are actually donating to his campaign fund. So I don't know if that tells you anything or not, but the question is he trying to stall the country out? Is he trying to stall out? The problem with inflation right now is that, you know, he says, "Oh, we need to wait till the next inflation report before we do anything." And then what? And then what? You know, so, you know, and meanwhile, states are sending out help right now. States continue to send out help. Um, and Joe, you know, Joe Manchin lives in West Virginia. I think we all kind of know here that West Virginia has been one of the poorest states here in the nation for a while. And, you know, the relief sent out by West Virginia has been nil to not very much. You know, and you know, his coal mine in West Virginia is raking in the millions, charging people more than the going rates. So it's like Joe Manchin's looking out for himself while he says, "Well, we got to wait on inflation relief. You know, we got to wait to see." You know, and meanwhile, they're, you know, they need his vote. They need his vote because all the Republicans are going to vote no, and you know, so the president may be trying to consider some executive action for what he can pass through or what he wants to pass through or what they are deciding they can pass through. We're going to have to see what goes through here. Maybe he has to do multiple different executive orders as we go through here before the election. We'll have to see. Maybe they finally get Joe Manchin on before the election. Maybe he comes to his senses before the election. See, the thing is, Joe Manchin isn't up for reelection this election. He's not up for reelection till next election, 2 years from now. Same thing with Kirsten Sinema. Yeah. The question is, will people remember this? Will he get reelected next election? He's actually, believe it or not, been kind of popular in West Virginia because he doesn't get voted on nationally. He gets voted on just in West Virginia. So question is, will he get re-voted on in West Virginia? Kirsten Sinema seems to be not very popular in Arizona at all in West Virginia. So yeah, we will see. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. In the next video, I'll have a lot of information for you here coming on here as well with what's going on in this package here. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. And then click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live here with new videos. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to see my newest video next. And you can click here to see my video with the 20 states, or a little bit more than 20 states, that are sending out stimulus checks, have approved stimulus checks, and when they're coming out, if I have the dates. And there's going to be even more coming out here soon. So I'll keep you up to date here on everything in my new upcoming videos. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.